If you're in any type of situation, please stop going to these exploitative interview people. People that are interviewing you are just doing it for money mostly. They're really just to it's also like a complex they have that makes them seem like a good person. Kind of like the whole situation with these people, these true crime people, which I have a video about that. I think I have a couple actually. But I talk especially about things that were done to me in the somewhat re-upload, because it's not like the original videos that I have on the evidence channels, of the whole situation that was done to me with like different people smear campaigning me and thousands and hundreds of other kids revolving around missing persons reports and different things like that. Helping abusers drag their victims back in. And yeah, overall, nobody cares about your situation like you do. You really have to lay low as well. And it doesn't matter if you're 18 plus. If you're hiding from somebody, you're hiding from somebody. And if you're in a conservatorship or something, you're hiding from somebody. And you can get reported missing at any age as well. So there's also that. You can be smear campaigned at any age. If you don't have the money and support system of people that actually care about you for a lawyer or something, then your situation is your situation. And unfortunately, people aren't going to help you. And especially when you throw your situation out into these online spaces, you're just going to have a whole bunch of hateful, chomo, pro-abuse, racist, exploitative people saying all types of bullcrap about you, spreading rumors about you, lying about you, and just talking about how you deserve to be in your bad situation and sent back to whatever bad situation, and just people that are going to want to ruin your life for no reason, who don't know you, you don't know them. So, yeah, I can say that. But I am going to read this comment, though, because it's a good example of the targeted individual thing I was talking about in the last video with Billy and what's her name, Nova. The soft white underbelly one, not the Slab City one, if anybody remembers those videos. So, well, actually, no, because I think I had made a video about that song she made even before I even had the whole Slab City situation go down. But anyhow. So, I'm going to start this off by saying, if you're in Cali, and if you're a street kid or really anybody, if possible, evacuate the West Coast. Now, as I said before, I had my dream about the coming earthquake tsunami, at least the tsunami part, back on, what was that, 2/13/24. Way before I had that when I first went to Cali in 2023, because being homeless on the East Coast is just a lot of stuff with that, especially with being a street kid and trying to lay low. It's just too much bullcrap. To a certain extent, because I will say, I mean, there's not enough services at all for any homeless people, but like, if you're in the South where people are less used to seeing street kids, or at least they try to pretend they don't exist because, quote unquote, you're just bad and you need to stop getting kicked out and go back home, people are going to automatically assume that you're way older than you actually are, even if you're obviously not. And that's how it is with me right now. People assume I'm like, I don't know, 30 somehow or something like that. But anywho, evacuate the West Coast. No, that's not what I was saying. I was saying when I first went to Cali, I knew I shouldn't be there long. I forgot that. So, yeah, evacuate the West Coast if possible. If you even believe in Yahweh, America's coming judgment, and the judgment coming to the West Coast for many different things, hundreds of different things. The same issues that have been going on since the 60s as well, that they now try to paint as like a homeless drug crisis, which of course, I mean, it's everywhere in America, but there is no homeless drug crisis. But I'm not even going to go back over that. But anywho, what else? Yeah, just evacuate the West Coast. That's all I can really think of right now, because I can't remember what else I was supposed to say about that. And I do know getting the money to get the bus ticket is going to be hard, and also Greyhound can be kind of funny, especially if they know about the issue with street kids, and it's like, it's just really annoying. But I will say though that if they think you're a quote unquote black boy or suspicious black boy, that will make the whole Greyhound thing worse, because like, then they'll actually question you about who you are, how old you are, and where you're going. you don't have to be 18 to ride the Greyhound, but it's just like you see in the Billy situation I talked about, it's just messed up when it comes to the racial and sexist side of a lot of these things. And I can say, though, it's honestly really a scary situation because, like, when you're in these types of situations, people already discriminate against you and they already don't like you. But I really do feel bad for, like, the quote-unquote black boys or melanated boys, especially who aren't taught about how a lot of people really feel about them and the different risks that are actually around them. That's one of many reasons that if I ever did date anybody, I couldn't date anybody who's not the same ethnicity as me, which of course quote-unquote black isn't a race or ethnicity. So obviously I mean like actual ethnicity, not like somebody who, I don't know, somebody could say is the same race as me, I guess, but they probably aren't. But I'm not going to go into all that though. It's just like, it's just always a good thing to, I don't know, work with your own tribe and help and fix your community, but that's a whole nother video. So, this comment can definitely go into the issue of what I like to call Let Me Help You Lunatics, which I have a playlist about that. I am thinking about if I want to link or re-upload the videos from like my old Let Me Help You Lunatic playlist, but the reason I don't do that is because I try to like not upload the abuse evidence videos and not like mention it too much. I'm pretty sure I still mention it a lot, but like I don't really want to re-upload those. I feel like honestly that would take like a while even re-uploading the Let Me Help You Lunatic ones. It's so many throughout like the different channels I have left, and it would be like hard to even really, I don't know, do all of that, especially with like storage space in my phone acting crazy. But I don't really want to put the links though because the whole situation could be maybe more triggering than some of the videos I make. I don't know, maybe not, to be honest, but either way, I do think about it because I feel like some of those videos where I talk about the situations kind of like in the moment are definitely way better than me trying to like remember bits and pieces of situations of Let Me Help You Lunatics, even though like my whole life is a repressed memory and I can't even remember yesterday, because I feel like it could be helpful. Okay, no, I forgot something else. So yeah, definitely if possible evacuate the West Coast as a whole, like all of it. Even the nearby, like besides states of the West Coast, states that are actually like on the coast. Do that before Cali splits and all the other stuff happens. Many other people have had dreams about it. There's plenty of people out there. I'm pretty sure most people know about, I think his name was Drew, the Evacuate California guy. And I'm pretty sure most people also know about Celestial / the Master's Voice Prophecy blog. I even knew other people around me who had dreams about this, like people who were also in Santa Cruz when I was there. But I mean, of course, people don't really think much about it, especially if they don't actually know that they're having prophetic dreams, but they also don't want to leave. And I'm not even gonna lie, I can get it on both ends, although it's not worth it to not want to leave and to be looking back like Lot's wife. But I could get how like if you're homeless, or at least the way I see it with my situation, you do get comfortable in certain places, but it's like you kind of don't really mind going somewhere else because, I mean, you don't have like a specific place to be at anyways, really. What else was it? Oh yeah, and then like there's also the fact that if you come to the East Coast, you have to deal with no services and different red state stuff. And obviously I know both wings are on the same bird and all that stuff is fake and staged when it comes to politics, but I mean, to be realistic, red states definitely, well, honestly, I can't even say if it's really the red state thing. I think it's just the fact that like the South is just really poor, so I mean, they just don't have the services that they would have in places like California, regardless of who wanted to do what. I do feel like some of the red state, I don't know, personas that people have about people in certain situations do add to it. But then also to think about it, I often think like, I mean, think about if the South has some of the same education opportunities as the West Coast. Now, obviously, it's definitely a racial reason behind why they don't. But it's also the fact that, like, due to the fact that most of the people are pretty much poor or, like, they're doing like however. I'm not saying there aren't people that aren't like a middle class or upper middle class, which I mean that's going away anyways, and that there's not rich people in the South, but the South is mostly poor, especially. So many people will be running to these different programs that the resources will be exhausted anyways. Like Urban League Portland, they literally can help you get a place and pay your rent for you, and they have like trade programs, but you're a federal minor till 26, so the program is for mostly people really 30 plus, because the thing about rapid rehousing, they're not in the business of housing quote unquote kids, whatever that means to you, especially in the West. It typically means, or well, with ageism in the West, you're going to be seen as like a kid till you're like 30, early 30s max. Rapid rehousing programs are not in the business of housing people who haven't been housed before, so there's also that. But still, to be realistic, that's something that's pretty much unheard of. I even remember always hearing people talk about homeless storage. Why is there no homeless storage? And then hearing people who have never been homeless before say, well, there is homeless storage, isn't there? And it's like, no, there isn't. I thought it was a myth until I went to Portland, Oregon, and saw that they actually have facilities for homeless storage. Like, having somewhere to put your stuff could help out a lot with getting a job, if you can actually manage to get hired, because that's where a lot of the issues come in, whether you're homeless or not, to be honest. But yeah, so I kind of went on a rant, but it's like, with that, I can't understand why some people may not want to leave, especially when it comes to being a street kid, because it's like, whether you're reported missing or not, you're still having to do so much hiding. Because one, it's still illegal, and it's been made even more illegal since, what was that, I think like the 90s? And you can still find documentaries from the 60s and stuff of street kids who are 8, 12, 14 years old in America. You still can now. Which I have to go on that rant again, and I'm going to go ahead and put rant in the title once I upload this, because I know this is going to be all over the place and already is. But as I've said before, obviously Mark Laita is a predator. Obviously he's probably a reptilian, and he's probably even one of the serpent seed people, to be honest. But overall, he still is showing what's actually going on. His videos still do have a lot of good purpose. People are saying he should go to jail for interviewing minors. There's literally documentaries of homeless 12-year-olds and stuff running around America, and they literally even show like how the kids end up dying or unaliving themselves due to like being kidnapped by cops and locked in facilities where they end up being hurt, or they take their life, different things like that. And I mean, that's definitely like literally recording people end up passing away, well, more than passing away, and also being trapped or quote-unquote prostituting, which I will say prostitution and trap is not the same thing, but still though, recording that, I mean, people could say that that's a lot worse, but that's the reality of what's going on. And the worst thing about it is that when you look at some of those old documentaries, especially like Streetwise, you look at those now, you'll see some comments of people saying it's fake and it's staged. And I mean, all documentaries are staged to a certain extent. Like, they talk about what they're going to show, what they're going to talk about, who's going to talk about what part of their life and stuff like that. That's how documentaries work. I've actually, well, I wasn't in a documentary, but, well, actually, no, I am in a documentary, actually. I forgot about that. Not like talking about my situation, though. I'm in one scene, if even that. I don't know what it's called, but I was told that it's already won an award and it hasn't even been fully released yet. So I don't know about that. But another one, more recent. It's about street kids. Not really sure all of what is in there, but someone was making the film. They were talking about who's going to say what. And they realized that it's actually kind of hard to really find people and meet back up with them, especially if they don't like have an address or a phone. So she just decided she was going to focus on one lady's life story mostly, and maybe a few other people. So it kind of went from being about street kids to like some lady, but still though, they are staged to a certain extent because that's how like production works. But saying that a situation is completely fake because you live in some la-la land, and really what it is, a lot of it is pride because it's like, not in my America. Like, I've even had somebody tell me that anybody in America who's saying that they've been homeless since 12 or they were homeless at 14 or whatever is what they say, that they're loco or something like that, or nuts, cuckoo, something like that. I guess it all means the same thing. So they said that bull crap, and it just shows how much of a la la land people live in. Like there is no help, and it actually sucks because there actually was help to a certain extent from the 60s to the like 80s or 90s, and then it started being illegalized and torn down. Like you can't even find Children of the Night anymore. And I mentioned that in some video. Like when I was in Cali, I had Children of the Night mentioned to me, but it was no longer a shelter. It was some like tutoring program to help people eventually get a high set or something. And it was national too, not even just in America, but like the tutors were mostly from other countries, to be honest, like Africa. And they teach kids in different countries who are homeless or in bad situations how to do math and stuff. And that's not what I needed, to be honest. I mean, it's good, but I mean, if you research what Children of the Night was actually about, then you'll know that it had a deeper purpose than even helping somebody count. Not saying that that isn't a good service, but I'm just being realistic. And I think it was actually the Tesmosis reupload of, what was it called? No, I'm thinking of something else, I think. Yeah, I am. No, wait. Because there's the Texas boy prostitutes one. No, I think that was called Boys for Sale. And then there's Children of the Hollywood Streets. I think that's what it was. And I think Tesmosis did re-upload that, if I'm saying their account name right. But yeah, anywho, I'm going to put the video in the description, but Hollywood Street Kids, whatever it was called, that actually even talks about the creation of Children of the Night, the lady who made it, and how, of course, it was funny enough funded by Playboy because nobody else wanted to fund it, because none of these rich people want kids to be able, or really anybody to be able to get some type of assistance to where they're not just out in the open to easily be like eventually put into traf, because like I said, traf and prostitution isn't really the same thing, but I mean it can lead to that, but it can definitely get worse, and there's many different types of traf anyway, so. But I go over this and what was it called? My reaction to Coroners' message to parents and teens, which was a horribly bullcrappy video that, of course, nobody wants to call out because people are ignorant. They really don't care. They're not taught to think for themselves. So, like, the Coroner lady said all that bullcrap she said to really victim blame the girl while saying she wasn't victim blaming her. And of course, the teens are going to go to jail. You're never going to find out whose house they were supposedly in. You're never going to find out who came from where. Sounds like they were all being trafficked by CPS, but no one's going to talk about that. The kids are going to go to jail. End of story. Then the other video was, I think it was titled, she hid in CPS custody for over a year, I think. And I talk about youth resource centers and different things like that. So yeah, ageism is really bad, and really what it is pro-abuse and it's pro-chomo. People don't want really anybody in any bad situation to be able to get out. And they really want to trap younger people in bad situations. And I'm not even just talking about like people under 18 or any of that, which a lot of that stuff is like people, I don't know, I've never liked the mindset where people are like, okay, let's pretend we care and we want to help this group of people but forget everybody else. And then people also say the whole age of consent thing. When they talk about certain situations, they'll be like, they were doing this with minors as if it would be better if the person was, 25, but also the age of consent is like 14 anyway, so technically 18 wouldn't even be a minor when it comes to age of consent, like under 14 would be. So I mean, should somebody kidnap somebody who's 13, but no, should they not kidnap somebody who's 13 but then kidnap somebody who's 14? It's a lot of stuff with that. But overall, the point is, I could get how there's already no help and people want to stay where the little bit of help is, but I mean, you're either going to be in the judgment zone or you're not. And I guess at the end of the day, if you don't like repent and seek Yahweh's truth and all that, then you're still gonna pretty much be in the judgment zone. But I'm just saying, if you can get out, definitely do it. And as I keep saying, street kids need to come together. And when I say this, I'm not trying to like exclude older people. I mean, they can get together. But the thing about it is that, especially with like really a lot of guys, but especially homeless guys, I don't know what it is, but it's like most homeless guys, or just about all of them, are chomo essayers. And the homeless women, you can't trust them either, because all their friends are the chomo essayer Jews, and they're going to be like, oh, he's cool. And as somebody with discernment, I can already tell who's quote-unquote cool and who's not. And I notice that these women seem to do that when it's very obvious that the dude wants to like molest me or whatever, or molest somebody else or essay somebody else in whatever other way. Then they'll be like, oh, he's cool and this is my friend. In fact, I remember this whole situation where this one dude was like, I'm cool people, and this one lady was like, oh, you're cool people, but you molested my 2-year-old and got her taken by CPS. And you know what the funny thing about that is? She doesn't have her daughter anymore, but this dude still gets to walk around and do whatever he wants. So she lost her kid and nothing happened to him. So the kid really got punished in the end, because the kid's now being trafficked by CPS. And is homeless as well, because being in CPS custody is being homeless. So, I mean, I guess they'd be homeless regardless. But still, that's how it goes. But yeah, that's the cool people. So remember that. But anywho, yeah, I noticed that the dudes are always essayers, and they're not safe people to be around. And I think another thing with it is that the more demon-possessed they get, especially if they use substances, the more demon-possessed they get, the more deeper they go into like this weird chomo stuff. And it's like a lot of them, they don't even have phones, they don't have Wi-Fi that often, so they're not like sitting around watching porn all day. I mean, some of them are, but some of them aren't, so it's like they're really just getting demon-possessed over somehow, I don't know, but it's happening, and they're sick in the head. So yeah, there's that. That's why I say street kids should get together. Well, that's one reason, that's a small reason actually. So many people are against us anyways, to where it's like, we should get together. And I'm not talking about the whole run partner bullcrap, which I talk about the issue of run partners or runaway partners in my playlist about how to escape abuse safely, or as safely as possible, or correctly, I think. I think maybe that's the title of the playlist, but yeah. So there's that. Oh yeah, another thing is that the older homeless people are set in their ways, and really I mean like 40 plus, but I don't know, I noticed that especially with like, well honestly men and women, when it comes to the sexual thing, it could be guys or women, but like especially guys, but just in general, people 40 plus, as I always say, a lot of them are deep in the feminine thug persona, or just other mind control, and they're like really stuck in their ways and messed up in the head, and they have no accountability. It even reminds me of something I seen in a Deliverance video by Deliverance Chronicles. I think that's still his YouTube channel name. And the demon said that one of the things about older people is that they're still stuck in their ways, so they rather try to keep youth from getting help or something like that. Not exactly that, but they said that mostly, especially with like the whole older people stuck in their ways thing. So yeah. But I think now I can start reading this. I think I said everything I needed to say in that rant. I'm glad Billy is okay. Now, I'm pretty sure he's back in the Cash for Kids system, of course, because he was in the one spot way too long. He was on camera way too much, being exploited by way too many different people. And another thing is that some people claim he's in prison, others claim that he got unalived for stealing. Pretty sure all that's just racist bullcrap. I mean, the prison thing, I wouldn't be surprised, because that's what the Cash for Kids system wants. So he's in prison somewhere, most likely, but as far as some of the like other stuff about the stealing and him supposedly hurting somebody, different little bullcrap comments, all that is pretty much just like some racial mess. I'm glad Billy is okay. I knew Daisy was making up things that potentially puts him in danger. And that's what I said in whatever video that was, don't even remember. But it's somewhere maybe like near the end of the playlist, or at least the end of the playlist where my videos are, not like the other videos by other people. or the Daisy videos that I also put in there. I think the video is titled Daisy is a Let Me Help You Lunatic, but I mean, I talk about that issue in pretty much all the videos, so I don't know. Very scary. Fabian, what she would do and say for attention. And the Fabian dude of Santa Monica close-ups, a lot of people were saying that he's racist. And I mean, of course, him and most other people in the comment section making these really bad comments, they are these serpent seed Eurojays and the you-know-who's, the Swedish, Irish, and German people running around Africa claiming to be the people that are also now trying to say that redheads are quote-unquote black, whatever that really means, to continue to push this agenda that a whole bunch of Swedish and Irish people should be running around Africa, the now called Middle East, claiming to be the people with their black-haired Turk friends, which are also Caucasoid. But yeah, these people are very racist though. I would honestly say that they're more racist than like the quote-unquote white southern people that they're always talking about. It's all kind of the same, but for one, the serpent seed are the real white supremacists at the top. They have way more money than most these southern hillbilly people have anyway, so it kind of doesn't even matter. Because as I always say, the real war is against white supremacists at the top versus the lower level Caucasians. Or you could also say the serpent seed bloodline versus the real 12 tribes of Yasharel, but that's its own video. Overall, they're fighting each other, their own people, just like with the whole cost situation of whatever year that was with the, what could I say, the Adolf guy. And Fabian almost sounds like French or Italian. No, Italian. More so Italian, definitely. And a lot of them are Italian, but that's not the point because I'm going way somewhere else. But yeah, anywho, people are saying that he's racist and some other stuff. Don't really know what exactly they were referring to, but apparently he did some stuff. Don't know what it was. Nobody would say for sure exactly what. I don't know if that came out right, but yeah. Billy, please be careful around Daisy. She's not good to be around. There's a reason she doesn't have her kids. She's mentally unstable. Daisy said you and herself were assaulted. She said you were chased by these folks and abducted by these people. And that's exactly what I was saying, though. Regardless of what, Daisy is a snitch. And Let Me Help You Lunatics are enablers, flying monkeys. They don't really want to help you, and they don't really have the ability to help you, or even themselves. And they typically are really toxic people. They don't even really care to a certain extent. Like, some of them are like dark empaths or like broken anointed people with a lot of stuff going on, to where, like, I mean, they do have empathy and they care enough, but it's also like some other stuff going on, and either way, they won't help you in the end. And especially when you're laying low, they will get you caught. Like, Daisy did more running and snitching to the cops than anybody, and she was doing it on camera. Like the whole bullcrap where she was in front of the cops and she was like, he got essayed 4 times, and people are saying he's stealing again. And it's like, why are you even saying this anyways on camera when you already know that none of the people in the comment section on a large scale give a crap because he's a quote-unquote bad black boy who's a bum. So, like, she just did not care. And, like, this is something that I have to keep saying. You really cannot be desperate. And I know people are going to say that's a sad view of the world and you're just depressed and a Debbie Downer. But, I mean, people like Soft White Underbelly who actually show these situations that people want to cover up, which actually, now to think about it, I never finished that sentence like 35 minutes ago. They don't want these situations out there. In their mind, they have pride and they're like, not in my America, and this doesn't happen in my America, this is just happening to this person. But now, due to the internet and just people recording their own situations, you're seeing what's really going on that people don't care about. Because everybody already knows, but it's like, people's real issue with people like Mark Laita is that people in other countries are seeing it, and they're saying things like, in that one YouTube short I made about the Billy situation, or at least some of the comments, this one person was like, you mean to tell me in a place like America there's nowhere for a kid in a situation like this to run to? And then, of course, they got cursed out. And then somebody was like, this is not an American issue, this is a cultural issue. And they were trying to make like a racial comment, but somebody was like, okay, it's a cultural issue in America pretty much, or at least they alluded to that. But people don't want others to know what's really going on, and the audio had cut off, so I don't know what all is actually still in here that I said, but it's just like people want to be able to go to sleep at night. They don't want to talk about what's going on, and to be truthfully honest, that's what I've said since the evidence channels. From like my own experience with even sitting around making thousands of videos for there to be no help at the end of the day, and I still had to save myself, and still had to attempt to like help other people, but they got a one out for themselves. But anywho, don't let anybody play stupid with you. People already know what's going on. They don't care. They're too scared, and at the end of the day, it doesn't concern or affect them, so it's kind of whatever anyways. And I'm not even gonna lie, so many people have been through this type of stuff to where like when people do see somebody doing these things, one, is normalized. So like, you're gonna be seen as the bad person who wants to get in other people's business, which I don't care about that personally, but a lot of people do. They want to fit in and stuff. Kind of like, what's his name? Daniel Mackler, the ex-therapist or psychiatrist talked about, or ex-psychotherapist, I think. In one video where he was talking about some lady who was like beating up her baby in New York, and everybody got mad at him for saying you shouldn't beat up your baby, and people flipped out. And he's realized more and more that actually the world is a messed up place. It's not even that individual people are traumatized on their own. They're like quote unquote messed up and quote unquote mentally ill on their own. But I remember I started watching him at 12, and honestly I identified a lot with his thought processes because I felt the same way. But a lot of people are like in la la land so much to where they don't even see it. And he's an atheist, and he still sees a lot of the true bullcrap in the world. People want to have power over somebody. I don't remember what in the world I was supposed to be getting at. I'm not going to lie. Like, once the audio had cut off, I completely forgot what I was really getting at. Okay, I think the ice cream sugar is kicking in, but I remember now. People either playing pity party and being like, oh, I feel so bad for this person, which is another thing people are going to do when you put videos out there when you're in interviews. They're not going to help. They're going to go on this rant about how they feel bad for you. And I mean, some people are really not in the position to help anyways, which, unfortunately, the people who are don't want to help anybody, but everything that happens in the world happens because we let it happen. So anybody that's talking about some I sit around crying for the children, all that stuff is really annoying to me. Stay away from people that pity you. I have a video about that kind of, but I could make plenty. Like, I feel like the whole let me help you lunatic thing is an example of this. People who pity you or feel bad for you, or who claim to pity you or feel bad for you, are not safe people. Like, the best thing you really could do is do your best to make it to where nobody knows that you're in a quote-unquote situation. Or whatever situation people consider not ideal. Even if you don't see your situation as bad, like how I feel about my situation, quote-unquote, other people will, and they'll see it as a way to pity you, victim blame you, and try to take advantage of you all at the same time. So, anywho, Daisy said you and herself, no, I said that already. She said you were chased by these folks and abducted by these people. She said they took you because you stole their phone and they carted you off to no man's land. When she called the cops for 4 hours later, she made sure she was the center of attention. Even going to the police department, telling them her goofy story, even though she knows that he's supposed to be laying low anyways. Well, honestly, it's not even really that he was supposed to be laying low. I think overall, he was in a bad place for too long. Like, I mean, you really can't hide at Venice Beach. I mean, LA isn't safe enough or big enough to hide in, but Cali is. Really, the whole US is. But I wouldn't walk around LA at all. The most I did do was go to Venice Beach once, but yeah, I wouldn't do that, but you could maybe hide in LA, but trying to hide at Venice Beach from 14 to 18 or 14 to 16, or really even just like a couple months, 2 months, 1 month, stuff like that is not going to work. That's too much of a small area with people who already don't want you around. A whole bunch of sick, serpent seed, racist, chomo people. None of that is even safe, to be truthfully honest. Like, it's just, I could say something I've already said plenty of times before. This is a big issue everywhere, obviously. And, like, chomoism is a culture. It's normalized in every civilization from the beginning of time till now, but I can say especially with like kids in Cali, they are raised to really see a lot of things as normal and okay that really truly aren't. And I feel like this is a big reason why, although these situations happen to everybody, kids in Cali seem to fall into some of the craziest situations I've seen because they're used to so much bullcrap being normalized that really is not okay because of no morals around. And now look, skinny dipping is white people stuff anyways, but only in Cali have I ever seen like young people see it as normal, or really anybody, to go out in public and get naked with not only other kids and random kids, but also grown people in a public bathing lake thing. And it's like, I mean, I know that white people like skinny dipping, but it's like to the extent that this was, and also like the surrounding situations and like the people in this area, with the fact that like most of them are predators, I have never seen like kids be so okay with something like that. And it's funny because like I said in the Slab City videos, like they were having talks about the whole minor thing, but it's like the minor thing doesn't even really matter, because they were talking about how like the cops had arrested this one girl while she was naked and she was a minor, but it's like that's not even the issue. Like it would be an issue regardless of how old she was. It's like so much stuff is not okay with the situation. And even like I said back on the evidence channels, which actually this video might have been unlisted because I was still like trying to hide the channels because I had to make everything unlisted after a while because my relatives watched the channels. Another story. But a whole situation I mentioned before where like some dudes had got naked at the Santa Cruz boardwalk and they were like playing with each other in front of babies, but it's like that's illegal, but the cops tried to run me over for nothing. So it's like, and now look, everybody from the evidence channels, if anybody here had even watched those, knows how messed up and how much in the false self my abusers were. And when I say my abusers, I mean really my relatives. I'm not even talking about the Cash for Kids system staff, but honestly, even a lot of the Cash for Kids system staff would have a serious issue if I went to them and told them, yeah, I got in this public pool thing with some weird old guys, and he was naked with his dog sitting on his lap, and there was this other naked kid beside me, and we were all taking a bath together. If I was to go to really most of them, or at least of the most recent situations before I left, so like the self-confined staff and obviously my relatives, they would not be okay with that, as messed up as they all were. But like they would not, I mean, I'm not gonna lie, they would probably smear campaign me about that. Like my mom would probably be on Facebook talking about my disabled, handicapped, retarded daughter has fallen into the traps of, she would like really manipulate the whole situation, but still though, they wouldn't be okay with any of that. And my dad was already sex trafficked by lawyers and judges who were doing SRA on their own kids, so like he would go into like a whole paranoid frenzy if I was to tell him some bullcrap like that. And it's really unfortunate because you really don't want to have that type of stuff normalized in your head when you're in these types of quote-unquote vulnerable situations. And I really don't even like the term vulnerable because it's really victim blaming. Like it says you need to run back to your abusers, or you need to run back to your traffickers or whatever in the world because it's not safe out here. This happened because you're small. This happened because you're a female. This happened because you're you're quote-unquote mentally ill, or this happened because, well, honestly, typically mentally ill people are painted as bad guys and the perpetrators, which really depends on what you're even considering quote-unquote mental illness, but either way, just like this sign said in some post, there was some kids holding a sign and they were like, don't tell us to stop accepting candy, tell adults to stop harming us. But anyhow, this is also going to be really irrelevant, but I seen some video talking about, I think it's called Bazi Boys or Bachi Boys, and it's talking about something that I kind of mentioned before, but not with that exact term, about how like Muslim guys pretend that that they don't like dudes, but really they like little boys, but they pretend that they only like little girls. Not that that's any better, to be honest, but I mean, you really can't have one paraphilia without the other, or at least not typically. And I'm not saying, well, it really depends on the person, to be honest. Like, I mean, there's plenty of people who wouldn't like start harming people who do have certain paraphilias, but yeah, it's just a lot of stuff with that. But anywho, typically, especially with like guys, it definitely seems like you really don't have one paraphilia, not the other. But either way, people are talking about that like it's just Afghani thing, or like it's just a Muslim thing, and like it doesn't happen everywhere. Like the whole ritual of dressing boys as girls and girls as boys, I mean, that's definitely done in America. I don't know why they're trying to act like we don't do that stuff here when it's literally like the theme of America, but it's a Baphomet turnout ritual. It's literally done everywhere. It even reminds me of something I used to talk about way on some other channel. And I mentioned how like twerking is one of the many sex butt worship rituals, and it's the same thing that the Greeks did and all those other people did, and like Indians do the same stuff, like even the dudes do it, and even like these other people that are, I don't know what to say about that. Other people do it pretty much. And you can see like the Bachi boys, whatever, they do like some of those same dances. They're actually Marine Kingdom dances, where they like do a lot of shaking and what is it called? Jerking stuff? That doesn't sound good. I don't know. What do people call it? Hip movements. But yeah, they do all that stuff, and it's really like Marine Kingdom worship, like sexual dances. But either way, that happens literally everywhere. And I noticed that like Americans are using it as an excuse for why our soldiers go places and like hurt people for no reason. They're like, us American soldiers couldn't take this abuse, and they say we can't do anything about it because it's their culture. Chomoism is everybody's culture. Literally everybody's culture. You can't go anywhere where it's not normalized. But I'm thinking about what else I could say. Oh yeah, so yeah, military soldiers are like now trying to bring that up and act like, oh yeah, this is why nothing we did was wrong, which is so stupid because the U.S. military, they make CSA imagery. They're into SRA traf. It literally is MK Ultra and traf in and of itself. They literally scrape up commonly homeless people and homeless kids and just kids in bad situations who like really believe that they're going to be able to do something good and maybe at least make some money. They really don't even care about doing something good, honestly. They're commonly in situations that are really bad and they just want to make some money. It's unfortunate because like after the whole military shenanigans, they're thrown right back out into the streets. Like if you knew how many homeless people, especially the men, were veterans, you wouldn't even want to go into the military, to be honest. But they do MK Ultra on you. They break you down to base value. They scream at you. They're tied to the mob, which I have a video about that, how they're tied to the mob, and these mob dudes that essay and traffic their own sons, not really just for sexual stuff, but they traffic them for like different, I guess you could call it, kind of like how spy kid organizations, or what's it called, different, like not even CIA, but just like individual gifted super soldier programs will like kidnap, experiment on, and traffic people. It's also like that, like they'll traffic them and use them for like different missions, as you could say. Like there's a book that I was reading, I actually have a video that I uploaded, it was a short about it, where like I show the book. It's called Spy Kids, and it talked about something with California and Russia and like something with Alaska, or at least one of them did, the one that I showed the most pictures of. And actually Alaska is Russia, the earth is flat, Russia's right beside Alaska, and technically Russia really still owns Alaska, and they've been on the border for Alaska, their soldiers are. So there's also that's kind of irrelevant too, but I have the info dump. So that's also why like the earthquake was felt from, what was that, Japan and Russia to the west coast. And no, the tsunami thing, or the tsunami warning. Like there was actually this post on Twitter where this guy was like, can somebody explain to me how an earthquake across the world caused a tsunami warning here? And it's because I mean, it's all flat, it's right beside each other, and actually Europe is on the bottom and not the top. I mean, even if you think about the Pangea theory, you really believe that the earth was like this big globe and that there was just this one landmass in one spot on like one side of a big huge globe? That wouldn't even make sense. And I was thinking the other day too, and not the other day, this was a while ago, but I was on the Greyhound and I was like trying to go to the bathroom, and I was like flying everywhere down the aisle, and people were asleep with their legs across, and it was pretty bad. But I was thinking about it, and I was like, honestly, if gravity was real and inertia and those different things are real, and the earth actually did spin and was a globe, walking around on earth would feel like trying to walk around in a moving bus. So it's like, it's all bullcrap. It's just bullcrap all around you. And people can say that like it's a sad way to view the world, but really, if you can't see through the bullcrap, then you're going to constantly be victimized. But I also feel like one of the ways to not be constantly victimized, aside from like maybe trying to get spirits that are attached to you that trigger other people's demons removed and different things like that, which still to a certain extent, as long as you're like following Yahweh, you're anointed or prophetic, you're always going to have people kind of after you. But like, you got to try to somehow get ahead and above of most people. And I can't tell you how, but I can tell you, like, if you can be seen as somebody who doesn't like need quote unquote help, or who isn't if you're not seen as below, beneath, less than, or the outcast, then you could be treated decently, or at least like a human being. She said a lot bringing attention to you from the police department now. She even told them you're hiding out in some dude's van. And there was also somebody in the comment section that had said that he was hiding with All Good. Okay, I screwed that up real bad, so let me retry this. So, the situation is very much over and done with, and it has been for probably over a year now, but definitely more than 9 months. If it wasn't, I wouldn't say this, but I mean, the comment was still there, and I did talk about, or at least I showed that in one of the videos, but I think by then it was already way too late. Because like I said, unlike anybody else, they got him snatched back up real quick. But I will say though, this interview stuff and him being in one spot way too long really did screw him over. But anyway, All Good isn't even around anymore. He got away from Daisy. Like when I went to Venice Beach, she was riding around screaming about how she was a man or something, or she told somebody she was a man, and I forgot exactly what it was, but All Good Ben got away from her. So, not trying to be rude though, but I'm just saying he's not there. And it's so funny though, because if you really think about it, I don't know, I just have to keep saying it. If you don't see the bias between the Billy and Nova situation, or really anybody else that was on there, then I don't even know what to tell you. And the only other quote-unquote black boy that I've really seen on Soft White Underbelly that I could really think of, which this is actually very recent, was the one who's, I think he's 18 or 19, and he's a quote-unquote prostitute, which there's no such thing as sex work, but anyways, there's that situation. But the thing is, he's not a threat to these people because, for one, not trying to be rude, but he's turned out completely. He's not like trans or anything, but he still turned out. And I'm not saying this to be rude. Obviously, I know what causes this, and he even talks about stuff that happened to him in the video. But that's one reason he's not a threat to these people, because, for one, these white dudes want that, and a lot of other people, to be honest. And two, he's also 18 plus, so it's harder for them to like get him locked up for no reason. And I mean, they still could get him locked up, but like, it is illegal to be homeless under 18, and you can get charged and go to jail for it, or go to somewhere worse than jail. But I will say, it's really the fault of the people around him, because he was in foster care. Foster care is not looking for anybody. So definitely, really, he got locked up because of these people in these videos and making these videos. I won't even necessarily say Mark Laita, though. I'll say the other people, though. I mean, obviously, the Santa Monica dude, definitely him, but I would actually say that's where a lot of the really hateful comments were. That and this one lady who decided to come to LA, and she made a video about how the American dream was bullcrap. Well, she didn't say that, but she went to like get people's opinions, and people were very mad at her for going to LA, and they were like, you went there and recorded some homeless people and got their side of the story instead of recording people who actually have done things in their lives and have accomplished things, and you recorded some bullcrap scum people and some homeless bum kid that needs to be in prison for the rest of his life. How dare you do that? But she did remove the clips of the Billy, though, I think she did. I can't really remember. I think so. Actually, I think it was kind of recent. I don't know. But yeah, he was in there because he was still there at the time, and people were mad there too. And it's like, Yeah, they did a number on her, though. They really showed her America's true colors, or at least LA's true colors, but yeah, definitely prideful people there are here. You're 1 year younger than my son, and I would be devastated if he were out on the streets. A lot of people are worried about you, young man. There are a lot of good people in the world still. Fabian is one of them. Okay, that's some bullcrap. But what I will say, though, is that overall, the more anointed or prophetic you are, the more you're going to be looked for. And what's the 144,000? Well, I'm pretty sure plenty of them have already been born. They're definitely going to be doing their little super soldier experiments to try to figure out who's what, which they already have. So religious organizations and their narratives about the 144,000 and 144,000 people getting into heaven and being raptured. The rapture isn't even real. All that stuff is bullcrap. It's 144,000 true Yasharel soldiers who are going to have supernatural powers from the Holy Spirit, and they're going to be able, well, not even just the Holy Spirit, but also just how they're going to be like genetically made to combat the different little hybrid people, the little transhuman people, the serpent seed, etc., etc. Even to a certain extent, it sounds like it could be like reincarnated type of Yasharel tribe people, but probably not that part, but still the first part, though. That's what it actually is. Like, I even had some racist white dude in Cali, he's an atheist, but still he was like, Christians are waiting to be raptured and reincarnated, and only 144,000 people can fit into heaven, and it only has space for 144,000 people. Which, honestly, if that's true, then people might as well go ahead and start fighting over who's getting in now. But anywho, replacement theory and people wanting to flip history around, and even prophecy so much to where they make things overcomplicated, and I don't even know how they get that out of there. But yeah, so I mean, they already have secret list of quote-unquote autistic people who can read minds. At least they give you the autism label anyways. Don't accept any of these bullcrap labels. What else could I say? I don't know, I guess everything I've been talking about. Just like how the Cash for Kids system is, I feel like the school system will probably be, well, no, not even the school system. The hospital will be one of the first funnels of the Cash for Kids system at birth. Like in, what is it called, prenatal care or whatever it's called, the ICU. No, I don't think that's what that is. Whatever in the world it is, that's where they're first going to be looking for these people. And so, yeah, evacuate the West Coast. Let me help you, lunatics are always going to be after you. Well, I won't say always. Let me rephrase that. One thing that somebody pointed out to me, aside from these people being what I like to call let me help you lunatics, and also obviously having Jezebel and Leviathan spirits and other spirits, and also marine spirits, because I mean, as you can see with the Daisy lady, she has a lot of like sexual stuff going on, a lot of hippie, what's it called, Eros, Caesar Borgia, if I didn't already say that, Nordic, Pleiadian, Aryan, Cupid, Care Bear, love, the Lima magic stuff going on. They're also monitoring spirits. Like, something funny I noticed when it comes to street kids laying low, escaping abuse, is that so many random people come out the woodworks trying to call the police on you for no reason and get you locked up, charged, and sent back to trap for whatever your situation was. And it's like they come out the woodworks. This is definitely demonic spiritual warfare. And people that don't believe in this stuff are going to think whatever in the world, which, like, they probably already think whatever in the world about all these videos, but yeah, anyhow, you're monitoring spirits. You help smear campaign abuse victims in all categories, in all situations. You help try to get them back in their abuse situation. You record them, you try to gain all their info, all their business, their age, which people are constantly doing this bullcrap with me. And the thing is, a lot of these people, or at least with the sexual ones, not even necessarily the let me help you lunatics, the let me help you lunatics are typically women. The exploitative people with the interview channels are commonly dudes, but they're not necessarily let me help you lunatics because they're not even like really claiming to care to want to help you. They're just running around recording people. But I mean, I guess if they're effeminate enough, they could be a let me help you lunatic. But anywho, not even the point. The sexual ones, as I said in another video, are Marine Kingdom agents. They're your spirit spouse, which is also generational, acting through another person because spirits have to act through people to be able to do anything. Like, we have to let them over because we are gods over this planet, or at least we were. Now the Nephilim run everything, but we were gods over this planet. The rule of man is almost up, or really is pretty much up at this point. And we were supposed to have dominion, but we let other things take over. Which goes into the video I forgot to upload here about how anarchy was the creator's original design. But that goes into a lot of things, but anywho. So you didn't have to have Chomo, the Lemite, pro-abuse, anti-men, lawyers and judges playing games with people about why the same serial unalivers are just driving around in their CDL trucks, kidnapping people, and the politicians do whatever they want. Although I'm not for all the it's the elite stuff. That's bullcrap. I mean, yeah, they're doing like the high level rituals, or at least they're doing the rituals and they know that they're doing rituals, but I mean, you can barely step outside without some weird sexual encounter happening. Or, well, I guess maybe that's only if you have, like, marine spirits sending people to attack you. But I don't know, it's just so common these days. I mean, I get people talk about the whole feminist agenda thing, but people are making the videos about all the different sexual predator stuff and the male loneliness epidemic thing for a reason. It's not even just about the feminist mess. It's about, like, real situations. It's actually kind of annoying, though, hearing some dude going around about how you can't even talk to a woman these days and how they get scared and act like they're a victim. And then all the women that they're talking about are, like, 10-year-olds and stuff. In fact, a lot of dudes who go on rants like that are into pederasty of some form. And I mean, for some of them that aren't, like, chomos or whatever, just, like, essayers or really demonized and into, like, sexual addiction and stuff, I could get what they mean. Honestly, I could get the issues on both sides because the different genders being divided is a big agenda, just like the destruction of the family system and the anti-youth agenda, the anti-men agenda, the anti-women agenda, which the anti-women agenda, I could say is actually older than the anti-men agenda, because I can say that very obviously, if you look through history, a lot of the stuff that led to the anti-men thing was rooted in the fact that women were also seen as objects just like youth are, or well, youth were and still are. And I think that the man and woman thing goes back to Genesis 3:16. Obviously there's war between human and serpent seed, and melanated people and serpent seed, which goes back to the other verse about enmity between the woman's seed and the seed of the serpent. So this is like epigenetic, I guess people could say wars and division, but now it's at its boiling point, or well, it's been at its boiling point. Like, I mean, you could even say that the destruction of the family system is epigenetic trauma from the whole thing. You could really say that the destruction of the family system really started with Adam and Eve, and then the Cain thing. Well, no, I guess you could say maybe the creator, Adam and Eve, then the Cain thing. And then just generational trauma on down from there, and things just went downhill, and now it's at its boiling point. And this is the end of the line. Kind of been there, but, you know, nothing's new, but things definitely do get worse. But I feel like it's just ancient wars, just like with the racial stuff. It's ancient bloodline feuds and sibling rivalry. Okay, lastly, going back to the racial thing, I feel like a lot of stuff with all the comments that were saying, oh, this child dad and this child dad and he's a boy, that's definitely racial as well. It goes back to the whole baby boy program in MK Ultra, which I mentioned plenty of times before, and how like the melanated man can never be a man, especially the man that's of true Yasharil. He has to be a quote-unquote boy, while the white man is the man, which I don't really like terms like the white man. I don't like when people say that, but I'm just saying. This is what a lot of this really is. It's not even just regular adultism or ageism. And I'm looking back from when I was in support groups and when I was doing the evidence channels, and like, of course I could never regret leaving. I don't have any cognitive dissonance and I have nowhere to go back to. All the people try to manipulate me and others into feeling like we do, which is really annoying because it's like, they're definitely monitoring spirits. They want to get info out of you, but like for all they really know, I mean, you could have been in foster care your whole life and you don't even know who your parents are. So it's really annoying that these pro-abuse, pro-chomo, weird monitoring spirit Jezebelic people like will come after you trying to force info out of you and force you into stuff, and it's all annoying. It's a lot of assumptions with it. And their assumptions really are still never true, actually. Which reminds me, a while back I forgot to say, these Chomo people are Marine Kingdom agents, so actually, they do already know your age and stuff. They may actually tell you info about you that they shouldn't be able to know, simply because the spirits tell them. So like something I experienced, when laying low, especially in some of the worst areas for it, or well, I guess maybe the worst people being around at certain times, I don't know, but anywho, the demonized people, they're going to want to call the cops on you because you're quote unquote a homeless at risk black boy who's like, I don't know, 11 years old. But then let's say, I don't know, you're 20 now, but you're still a street kid, or yeah, I guess I could just say 20, I don't know, I don't want to give too many examples because it's already way too long. Now, all of a sudden, people aren't like, well, people may still accuse you of being 11, but it's like, now nobody's constantly calling the cops on you, at least not too much. That's done by design. The demons want you back in the trap situation or whatever abuse, but now all of a sudden people are just leaving you alone and even accusing you of, I don't know, being 30, because like there's this weird thing people do where to make themselves feel better about the reality of the world and as an excuse to not help people, they've made up this lie that homeless people lie and say that they're younger than they really are, which they would get nothing out of that, especially if they're saying that they're under 18, but jail. So it wouldn't even make sense. So yeah, I forgot to say that a while ago. Flying monkeys and enablers are in a demonic confederacy against you. And lastly, what I was saying, but then I stopped to finish some sentence I forgot. These screenshots are from some of the Evidence Channel videos, and like, it reminds me of how grateful I should always be that I got out. No, I'm not saying that like, I don't know, I didn't even really like the term in the streets, but I'm not saying that, I don't know, being stuck outside, having no family, not that there's much control over that, but having no family, don't mean blood, I mean like, I don't know, chosen family, or being a quote-unquote nomad and vagabond, or telling yourself that to cope when maybe you're really not at this point in time, you really know that you don't want to be, is the end-all be-all, and like, you have to stop there, although, I mean, the situation can be hard to get out of. Me personally, I don't really care about the whole houses and cars thing. I never did, and I'm not saying that it's like a coping mechanism. I literally never did. I never cared for any of that. I just cared about love and family, not blood relatives. But like, I don't know, just like people getting together and treating each other like something and not like crap. But yeah, anywho, still. But I just always have to be grateful that I got out, and thank God that I got out the situation, and that I was also able to like take the risk instead of like, I don't know, sitting somewhere scared or something, which is not even about relatives. It's about fear of, one, the laws, the law officials, and being thrown to the cash for kids system. It's actually people's real fear. I mean, not that some people aren't scared of like how their abusers or abusive relatives may react, or traffickers may react if they're sent back, because of course now they're going to be on lockdown even more, they're going to be going through more abuse. But anywho, to hurry up and end this video eventually one day, point is, these comments that I used to use for thumbnails, which I honestly forgot all about that, because like I said, I mean, I forgot everything, or at least it became repressed memories. And so like, I remember, even though these people honestly were pretty toxic in certain ways behind like some stuff, like some pity type stuff, and seeing their self in me, or even us being in similar situations, they still did more help than any other person did for me. And of course, mandated reporters are cash for kids system staff, and like, enablers and flying monkeys are in a demonic confederacy against you along with your main abusers. And so, like, I just remember, I don't know, good true things people said. In fact, I finally found this thumbnail or screenshot, which I didn't even know I had a screenshot of this, where someone mentioned the whole thing I mentioned pretty often, especially in the more recent #1 message to abuse kids video, where like I talk about the whole never argue with somebody who has the ability to ruin your life thing. And this screenshot reminds me of the Billy situation, and really even my own Let Me Help You Lunatic situations, and even other people's situations that I can consider Let Me Help You Lunatics. But it seems like people don't run into these people that often. It seems like only really anointed people run into these types. Like, I haven't really heard anybody else mention running into these types of people. And I know other people would probably describe it as, like, I don't know, somebody with a savior complex or hero complex. I wouldn't even really want to consider it that, but I guess it could be a very toxic form of that in a way. Like almost how quote-unquote narcs or Jezebelic people create situations and play the hero in it. But it's still kind of even different from that. So I don't know.